I just want to invite Nancy Miller, a member of this church and a beloved child of God, to share her story this morning. Nancy is married to Danielle, and together, God bless them, they're raising 4 teenagers, all sitting in the front row today. And Nancy is going to share her story. Welcome.
Thank you. So, like Becky Jo said, my name is Nancy. My wife Danielle and I have been coming to Eden Prairie United Methodist Church for just shy of 3 years. I had to think about that the other day, actually. But I feel like it's important, especially on this Sunday, to share about how I grew up, a little bit about coming out, and what brought me back to the church, because I pushed away for a very long time. There's a lot of you guys today. It's been a long time since I spoke in front of a big group of people, so bear with me. I was born in Blytheville, Arkansas, on an Air Force base. My dad was in the Air Force, so I grew up in the South. When I say the South, I mean the Bible Belt. So I grew up going to Baptist churches. I grew up fearing God. I grew up thinking anything other than normal was very, very bad. So when I was an early teenager and starting to figure out that I was a little different than every other girl I knew, I thought that was bad. So it didn't completely consume me, but it was something that I thought about often. So when I was about 15, we moved to Minnesota. I had never heard anything about the LGBT community ever in my life. So the first time I heard the word lesbian, I was like, oh my gosh, it's not just me. And so I started to kind of read up on it a little bit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's more people like me. I've got to find my people. So when I was 17, graduated high school in '92, so I'm kind of old, but it was a different world back then, okay? So in '92, I graduated high school. There was this place that opened up in South Minneapolis called District 202. I do not know if it's still around. I have no idea. But I went there, and I met a lot of different kind of people, and I thought, oh my gosh, this community is so amazing. It's so vast, and there's all these different things going on, and it was amazing. And so then I started to think about maybe I should come out to my parents. My parents are very conservative Christian people. So it was something I didn't want to do, but I felt was necessary. So one day I was hanging out with a friend of mine, Amy, and for some reason I had to stop at my parents' house. I don't know what led me to do this. Somebody had a plan. So we stopped by my parents' house. I picked up whatever it was that I needed, and then we left. And my friend Amy goes, you know your parents are going to ask you about me, right? Because she looks a lot like I do now. Stereotypes are there for a reason. So I got home that night, expecting hopefully my parents to be asleep. I stayed out late on purpose. I walked into the door. On the living room right here was a couch with a light, TV, and a chair. My parents are sitting on the couch with the light on, TV's not on. It's very important. Hey, Nance, have a seat. We want to chat. Oh, God, okay. So I sit down in the chair, easy access to the doorway to get out of the room because I was petrified. And they go, your friend? And I go, yeah. And they go, is she gay? And I go, yeah. And they go, well, are you? And I looked at my parents, and I said, yeah, I think I am. The look on my parents' face almost killed me. I've never seen that look on their face before, and I didn't want to see it ever again. Pure and total disappointment in me as a person. What did we do wrong is what they said to me. You didn't do anything wrong, Mom. This is just me. Well, why would you choose this? I don't know what else happened that night. I kind of blurted out, I think. But we moved on from that day, and I just couldn't look my parents in the eye for about a month while I still lived there, and then I left home. I left home, and I went off to California and basically self-medicated with a lot of things that people tend to die from, right? I developed a very healthy, not so healthy drug habit. And then one day, because I would call my parents with 1-800-COLLECT every 6 or 8 months just to make sure everybody was alive, basically. And my mom was sick. She was very sick. I was on the verge of losing my mother. So I came home. and nursed her back to health, and everything was fine. And I had decided on the plane ride back home that I was going to make my parents happy no matter what that meant. Well, for them, it's you get married, you have kids, you live a life like that. So I married someone I shouldn't have, but to be honest, I got 2 great kids out of it, so it's okay. About 12 years ago, I got divorced, but also 11 and a half years ago, I got sober. My sobriety was hinging on developing a relationship with a God that I had pushed away from for 20-something years. This was super tough for me because God hates people like me. God doesn't like people like me. But my sponsor was instilling in me, you don't understand, Nance. You get to build a God of your own understanding. So I got to come up with my version of God. So my version of God, I could talk to like a friend, driving my car down the road. Hey, I don't know what's going on, but this is what's going on, and I need some help. I'd finally found a God that I could handle, that would accept me for who I was. I still didn't want to go to church, but I had something. I met my wife 10 years ago, next month, actually. That's pretty cool. My wife had this, she went to a lot of Lutheran churches in Florida, so church was very important for her when we met. She moved here, and I was like, I'm not going to church. They judge people like me when I walk in the door. And she was insistent on finding a church for us. It took about 7 years. We would walk into churches, various places around the area, and she'd walk in, hi, my name's Danielle, this is my fiance Nancy, before we got married, and they'd go, oh, okay. And then we would leave, and I didn't have to go back, and it was great. Because then I got to sleep in on Sundays, you know what I mean? Like, it's a thing. So one day, she was looking at the churches again, and she found something about Methodist churches and this reconciling thing, and I'm like, what the heck is that, you know? She goes, well, it looks like they're like LGBT friendly. And I was like, yeah, right, okay, whatever. She was like, well, we can go to this Hennepin one. I'm like, I'm not driving downtown just to go to church. That's dumb. She goes, all right, good point. Oh, hey, look, there's one in Eden Prairie. I'm like, where? She's like, it's over by the middle school. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. If you want to try it, let's check it out, right? So we come walking in that front door right there. Bruce was standing there. I told you I'd say your name today. Bruce is standing there. Danielle goes, hi, my name is Danielle, and this is my wife, Nancy, and these are our 4 children. And Bruce, oh my gosh, I love you so much. It's really nice to meet you guys. Welcome, come in, you've got kids. Oh my gosh, this is great, blah, 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 blah. And everybody we met did the same thing Bruce did. Everybody. We sat way back in the back corner over there, and I was watching everybody through the service because I was still like, what's going on around here? Notice we weren't the only lesbians in the place, I guess. It was cool because I was like, honey, they're right there. And she goes, I see them, it's fine, chill out. I get excited about weird things. Anyway, so it was really cool because after church, you know, you walk out, Dan was at the door. Hey, it's really nice to meet you guys. Just stop by for coffee and stuff. So we did. And oh my gosh, we were like people everywhere. And it was great. And so we left, and she goes, so what did you think? And I'm like, well, I guess we could go back, you know. And we just keep coming back. But I just want to say that my journey of faith has been so up and down, and this church is a huge part of me actually coming back to that warm hug of God and giving you some semblance of safety and security in a church family. And you guys have no idea what it's like. Well, you guys might. To walk into this and not feel judged. It's amazing. Thank you. I love you all. Thanks for listening. I'm out.